I was out walking with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and somehow the topic of pain came up. And this friend of mine works with people struggling with homelessness and addiction, and many are kind of just stuck in very self-destructive places. And my friend made a comment about it's often greater pain that gets them out of that helps them reach out for help. And then he said, pain is such a good thing. And I immediately felt myself grow cautious inside. And I said, I partly agree with you that pain can be a good thing, but I also know from complex trauma that pain can be a very destructive thing. So here's how I qualified it with him. I said, if I look back at the times of the deepest growth in my life, the time where I gained the greatest insights and wisdom about life, it actually was from the times of my deepest pain. The darkest times of my life led to growth, something beautiful. But if you look at a psychopath, if you look at a narcissist, where did their psychopath and narcissist come from? From deep pain. So pain didn't bring about something beautiful with them. It brought about something ugly. It brought about a monster. So pain in one case brought about beauty, and pain in another case brought about a monster. So we have to be very careful to not just kind of say pain's a wonderful thing. It's how a person responds to pain that is the issue. And so the question becomes, what makes the difference? Whereas pain for one creates beauty, pain for another creates ugly. And I think it's complex trauma and how it shapes a person to respond to pain. Before I develop that, I want to just kind of give you a couple basics around pain. So again, it's just to say there's two types of pain. There's physical pain, but there's emotional pain. Rejection, betrayal, abandonment, grief, shame, guilt, failure, sense of hopelessness. All of those are extremely painful, intense pain. What's important, I think, about emotional pain is that often it works in the subconscious. You're not even aware at a conscious level that you're experiencing pain. It can be subtle, but it's still there. It's still affecting you negatively. The second thing that I want you to see is what is the original purpose of pain? And its pain was actually designed to be a good thing. So you have to realize that the brain hates pain. The brain wants to be in a content, happy state all the time. And so if it's in pain, it can't relax until it finds a way out of the pain. It will look at every option possible to escape the pain, to resolve the pain. Therefore, it was designed to be a good thing because it was designed to be resolved. It was designed to point you to something is wrong here. Something is not healthy here. So think of a toothache. Pain motivates you, it alerts you to there's something wrong. There's a problem that needs to be fixed. And once you fix the problem, the pain goes away. If you're in an abusive relationship, you're going through a lot of pain. It's alerting you that this isn't healthy. This needs to be fixed. And if you fix it, the pain goes away. If you're in an unjust situation, you're in pain, and it's motivating you to try to fix it, to resolve it so that the pain goes away. Beyond that, there's this painful consequences that we talked about. So every time I walk outside of loving behavior, loving attitude, so I lie, I cheat, I betray, I steal, I say hurtful things, I step outside of love, the boundaries of love, there will be painful consequences. People will not trust me. People will not want to connect with me. I'll be lonely. I will feel rejected. I will go through all kinds of painful consequences. The purpose of that is not to punish. The purpose of that is to say, hey, you need to change your behavior. You need to get back inside the boundaries of loving behavior, loving relationships. Then the pain will go away. So pain always has the purpose of taking us out of an unhealthy situation, pushing us, motivating us back to a healthy place so it's resolved. In other words, pain was designed to be a temporary thing. It was designed to be something that alerted you to a problem that could be fixed, that could be resolved. Then the pain would stop. Now, there's one other distinction I need to make up front. So pain initially comes from unhealthy external circumstances, injustice, abusive authorities, all of that, external circumstances, not healthy, I experience pain. But pain can also come from an unhealthy internal world. And that can be the worst type of pain to deal with. Keep that in mind as we move forward, because it's going to be very important to see that pain begins with an unhealthy external world, but in complex trauma, it often shifts to become the main cause of pain is an unhealthy internal world. So if you look at this diagram, it's what we talked about at the beginning. You have pain at the top. So you're in danger, stress, hurt, your needs are not met. All of that causes pain. So one person ends up with growth and beauty. The other person ends up with complex trauma, a narcissist. So maladaptive behaviors, ugly stuff. What's the difference? So the first one that ends up in beauty, the child had healthy supports and healthy tools were given to the child to deal with the pain. And the other one, there were no healthy supports. There were no healthy tools given. So the child had to go to fight, flight, freeze, and they had to start shutting down parts of themselves to survive. That's what results in all of the maladaptive behaviors, which then result in creating the monster. So let me expand on that, because this is, to me, so critical for people to understand, because it's really a complex trauma thing. So let's go back to a child. Their external circumstances are painful. Let's say there's a bully at school, there's something unfair, there's some racism, there's lots of different things that are in their external environment that are hurting them. Their internal world as a child, and this is key, is innocent. It is healthy. So their natural instincts when they're in pain are healthy. Their natural instincts are to express their emotions, to cry, to reach out to somebody, to talk to somebody, to be vulnerable. All of those are very, very healthy. They don't have tools, and so that's why they need to go to somebody for help. So they go to their parents. That's their first persons they go to. So they go, and if their parents are supportive, their parents will co-regulate their emotions with them. They will nurture them, empathize, and give them tools. And what happens? The child can solve the external problem. The pain is resolved, but more than that, the child has learned. The child has grown. And the child now doesn't see that pain as a terrible thing that is to be avoided at a cost. It sees the pain, yeah, it was a bad thing, but it turned into a good thing. I grew, I learned. And so pain is seen from the perspective that it's the opportunity to learn and to grow. But let's go to the child who goes to their parents. They have all of these natural instincts. They're vulnerable, they cry, they ask for help, they rush to their parents, but their parents don't support them. In fact, their parents might be the one causing the pain. Their parents might be the one being abusive, being neglectful. Or their parents might, when they go rush, the child comes to them, their parents might shame them, punishment, tell them that they're weak, tell them that they're a failure. They might they make more pain. So the child is in pain, goes to their parents for support, doesn't get tools. Rather, they get a response that adds more pain to the existing pain. So what happens in the child? Well, they don't have tools to resolve the pain. Nobody is helping them resolve the pain. They're too little. So they got to go to shutting down things so they don't feel the pain. They got to go to maladaptive behaviors to try to get away from the pain, to try to fix the pain. So fight, flight, freeze, fawn becomes their way of coping. But in their mind, they're going, pain doesn't lead to anything good. Pain only leads to more pain. Pain is bad. Pain is to be avoided at all costs. If you experience pain, you need to numb it, but otherwise avoid it. Pain is a bad, bad thing. And so they develop in their brain a hyper response every time there's a hint of pain to go to fight, flight, freeze, fawn, to avoid, numb, because pain can't be resolved. Pain, nothing good comes out of. Pain is always bad. And that then leads to maladaptive behaviors, to shutting down, that down the road lead to a monster. Initially, they might have kept the child safe physically, but they are changing the character of a child to become a monster. So that might not happen until 20, 30 years later. But those early maladaptations, which were the original problem and the original source of pain, what begins to happen is 20, 30 years later, they realize that their pain is now coming from their internal unhealthy world. They now, because of all of their maladaptations, their shame, their manipulation, their dishonesty, their control, not trusting anybody, not being authentic to people, not connecting with anybody, they've created pain upon pain upon pain. They have now become dangerous to themselves. That is the shift that happens with complex trauma, is the source of your pain moves from your external world to your internal world. Now, it's important to understand that 20, 30 years later, when somebody as an adult who might be very successful is in a relationship and the relationship is falling apart, their children are angry and turning against them and not trusting them and not feeling safe with them, and they start having issues on their job, their first response is still that of a child. Something's wrong in my external world. They want to blame everybody else for their pain. Oh, if only I had a better job, if only I had a better spouse, if only I had more money, then I wouldn't be in pain. They do not want to see that their unhealthy internal world is now the cause of their pain. And so what usually happens is another 5, 10, 20 years of this ongoing pain where they blame, but the pain doesn't go away until it gets so bad they finally go, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the cause of all of the pain in my life and I'm the one that needs to change. So usually the pain has to get worse. It has to increase. And that's what my friend was talking about, that they're trapped in a life of pain. They're blaming everybody else. It's not till the pain gets so severe that they finally break through any denial that's there and say, maybe I'm the problem.